Hi, this is Krystal from Communications 111, Section 876, and these are my visual aids.
Go.
I went to a party. I remembered what you said. You told me not to drink, so I had Sprite instead. I felt really proud inside the way you said I would. I didn't drink and drive, even though others said I should. Now the party is finally ending, and everybody is driving out of sight. As I got into my car, I knew I'd get home safe that night. I started to drive away, but as I pulled onto the road, the other car didn't see me and hit me like a load. As I lay here on the pavement, I hear the policeman say, "The other guy's drunk, and now I'm the one who will pay." This is an excerpt from the drunk driving poem. It is by an anonymous author. This poem has sobered many, but still not enough. The few seconds it took me to read that poem, another person will be injured in a drunk driving accident. Bruce Goldman, Director of Substance Abuse Services in New York, states that people with a blood alcohol level content of 0.05 are quite impaired. Drinkers may not appear impaired, but it does not mean their ability to drive is unaltered. They may speak okay, but their judgment is not as good as it would be normally. Oftentimes, we are not made to think about impaired drivers being on the road. We think that we're safe drivers and everybody else is too. In reality, there are thousands of accidents each year due to drunk driving. According to USA Today, the risk of a crash at 0.05% and 0.08% is nearly cut in half. This is why action must be taken to lower the blood alcohol level to 0.05%. While 0.08% has been the standard since 2004, efforts have been made to yet again lower the blood alcohol content level to 0.05. There has been action taken from Mothers Against Drunk Driving and the National Transportation Safety Board to eliminate drunk driving entirely. They state that 1/3 of all accidents are alcohol related. Several recommendations were also suggested for drunken driving, including stricter consequences, and these follow an effort to cut alcohol-related fatalities down. On a positive note, in 2010, the European Union set these recommendations, and they set a goal to lower drunken driving fatalities in half and succeeded. While many argue against lowering blood alcohol content levels in the states, continued efforts have already began and control some fatalities among young drivers, and this continues to work and remain positive in its efforts. According to a study shown in the public health records, to reduce fatal crashes in young drivers, 29 states, along with D.C., implemented lower blood alcohol levels for drivers under 21 years old. Crashes are 3 times more likely to be alcohol-related in drivers who are 15 to 20 years old. In the study, when those states that lowered the blood alcohol level for younger drivers, fatal crashes were decreased by 16%. When compared to similar states who did not lower the blood alcohol content levels, their drunken driving fatality rate went up by 1%. In this study, it is stated that if all states implemented a zero tolerance or 0.02% limit, 375 crashes per year would be prevented. While this study focuses on a younger demographic, it shows that ultimately lowering the blood alcohol content level can be positive in many ways. While lowering the blood alcohol level for younger drivers was shown to be positive, many people are in fact for the change of a lower blood alcohol content level on our roads. According to a recent Times article, the National Transportation Safety Board recommends that all states adopt this change. And 2 months ago, the board voted to make the change and to fully address those getting behind the wheel and not just those dying from it. The board threw threw out a startling fact. While 10,000 people die from alcohol-related fatalities per year, over 4 million people admit to getting behind the wheel intoxicated. While some are not in lieu of the change and suspect it to be ludicrous, research ultimately suggests that lower blood alcohol content levels can be positive. On a positive note, NBC reports that when Australia implemented this change and lowered blood alcohol content levels, driving fatalities were reduced by up to 18%. Younger drivers are targeted more often than not to be the cause of most alcohol-related fatalities, and these tragedies are truly preventable and, for that matter, illegal. According to a New York Times article, Young Drivers and Alcohol, a Deadly Mix, it is suggested that 21% of young drivers involved in fatal accidents have had some alcohol in their system. Research has continuously shown that even a small amount of alcohol can disrupt a person's ability to concentrate or to do two things at once. And for less experienced drivers, this can cause the loss of reasoning or reaction time, which can ultimately result in a fatal crash. Deborah Hirschman, who is a part of the National Transportation Safety Board, states that young drivers have a far greater risk differential in the 0.05 to 0.08% range. Lowering the legal limit could make these people think twice about having that second, third, or fourth drink, because every drink raises a driver's crash level exponentially. If this proposed law is adopted, the lives of many will be affected in far greater ways, and the younger population, along with the older, will be forced to become more aware of how much they're drinking before the risk of a possible DUI or DWI, or the risk of potentially hurting or killing his or herself along with somebody else. Lowering the blood alcohol content level could potentially curb drunken driving along with the fatalities. The Star Tribune reports that while accidents due to drunken driving have declined by 53% in the past 3 decades, this should not overshadow the still shocking numbers per year. While 9,878 people are still involved in drunken driving fatalities, this is still quite a shocking number. In 2012, National Transportation Safety Board started a year-long effort to find the most effective and scientifically based next steps in order to ultimately reduce and eliminate drunken driving. As they argue that these are not accidents, and these are the direct result of reckless behavior. Studies show constantly that just a small amount of alcohol can impair driver performance, while research also shows that European countries that recently implemented the change have shown a decrease in drunken driving fatalities by 12%. While politics and policies suggest that we are years away from a change, just talking about it is a step in the right direction. And let me end by saying, I hope you all have considered these statistics and the shocking facts that have led me into voicing my opinion and concern and belief towards the forward push of lowering the blood alcohol content level in all states. These preventable accidents could be lowered to a minimum, and our families and friends would be much safer on the roads, thus giving us all a reason to breathe a little bit easier. As the National Highway Safety Administration reports, drunken driving is one of the most frequently committed violent crimes in the U.S., and impairment starts with the very first drink. Don't become a statistic. Don't drink and drive.